there's let's just dive in. How often are we naked in a locker room full of males looking at my junk? How often is this? I'm gonna tell you, zero times. When I used to work at Planet Fitness, work out at Planet Fitness, nobody ever looked. Nope, we all turned around. They could see my butt probably, but they weren't looking at my junk. 2, I got kids. I got a gym in my garage, and I'm at home working. I'm not going out to just go to a gym to be naked around guys to see if they know I'm a dude or not. All joking aside, it is super weird that people go with these super vulgar examples that have no association to do with actually being a man or not. I have plenty of cis guy friends who see me as a man because they know who I am and how I present myself. And I trust them when they tell me that they're a man. For all I know, the cis guys in my life are trans too and just didn't tell me.
What's wrong? What is it?
How I love being a woman.
Nobody told me how lonely being a man is. I had closer friendships with random women I met in the bathroom before I transitioned at clubs because of how open women are than I've had in my 8 years of transitioning. Because women are just so much more vulnerable and deep than men. But to have known, and I think a lot of trans men feel this, is we knew what depth felt like before we transitioned. We knew what it felt like to have people want to hug us. And to have people want to talk to us. And to have a community. And then you transition and you're just a guy walking down the street that people cross the street so that they're not near you. And friendships are so much harder to build. And people are colder. What's hard is none of this invalidates how real and raw women and people who are in marginalized groups feel about cis white men. All of that's valid. But I also now understand why the suicide rate is so much higher in men. Because this shit is lonely. And I'm an emotionally mature man. I know how to build friendships, and it is still really, really hard. Try to think about how you can, in your small little community where you feel safe, can reach out to the men in your life and just help them feel maybe seen for a moment. Or do little conversations to help their emotional maturity so that they can reach out to people and have deeper guy friendships.
Many modern women are choosing to become men, and surprisingly, they're regretting it. Feminism is full of lies. It wouldn't be able to operate without deceiving people and misrepresenting society in big ways. Many of the lies feminism tells are just standard hypocrisy and man-hating propaganda. But just when you think feminism can't sink any lower, it makes an even more outrageous statement. And hands down, the most ridiculous thing feminism has ever claimed is that women have it harder in this society. In order to believe such a ridiculous statement, you have to ignore most of human history. You have to ignore the billions of men who died in wars protecting their country. You have to ignore the millions of men who died doing dangerous and necessary jobs. You also have to ignore how crushingly difficult dating is for the modern man compared to your average 6 out of 10 woman. But before we go any deeper into the video, let me share the comment of the day. Shout out to Adam Green, who said something that relates to this video really well. Being lonely is so hard. Men are used to it. We cope with loneliness better than you do. Get used to it. Now ain't that a fact? With women trying to be like men, they're gonna have to get used to it. So man, please don't forget to reach out to my email to claim your $5. As always guys, I'm gonna pick one comment from each video. It could be the funniest, the most liked, or one that moved me, so don't forget to leave a comment and you could be the next winner. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe button too, as it helps me out a lot. So now, back to the video.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever
Feminism and modern women have absolutely no empathy for men, and this is why they can believe that they have it harder. Now, in the past, there's been no way to deal with this lack of empathy. That is until recently, with a trend that's emerged that's so bizarre that it can only happen in some dystopian society just like the one we're currently living in. Women are choosing to become men. These are the women who really have drank the Kool-Aid of feminism and genuinely believe that their lives would be easier if they were a man. And in a way, I'm glad this is happening, because the only way for modern women to understand how inherently difficult life is for a man is to walk a mile in a man's shoes. And this is what many women are choosing to do. The consequences are disastrous, tragic, and entirely predictable. What we're seeing is the exact thing you would expect. The women who make the transition to becoming a man quickly realize that they made a grave mistake. But before I talk about what's been happening, let's talk a little bit about the inherent privileges that come from being a woman. This is the kind of stuff they voluntarily choose to give up, which is completely insane. It's unbelievably easy for a woman to make an insane amount of money while she's young with absolutely no skill. They can make insane money using something they were just born with. Their bodies. Just to be clear, I'm obviously not condoning women becoming OnlyFans models, but even though it's a terrible choice for many reasons, you can't argue with the fact that it's an extremely easy way to make crazy cash without any skill. It's easy in this society for a woman to blame her lack of success on the fact that she's not a man. This view is extremely misguided, but it doesn't stop women from believing it sometimes. Like that time when a female comedian made the outrageous claim that the only reason why she wasn't successful is because she wasn't male. So what did she do? She decided to dress up as a man and do her stand-up routine as an experiment. This is what happened. And by the way, if you could get through this next clip without cringing into another dimension, I'll be impressed.
Barney Mac, nice to meet you.
What is it?
I have a Comedy Central, a half-hour special, and I'm also the voice of Lenny on the Cartoon Network, Joy
All
Cab.
right, well, let me write all this down.
Okay. Thanks, bro. Can I get some change for that?
Do what you do. Quit picking pussy hairs out of your tongue.
I can't help it. I fucking eat pussy before every show.
Welcome, Barney Mac, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a hand.
I love animals. I would never buy any product that had been tested on animals. Never, because I like to do that myself at home. Make sure the control group is isolated. You don't know what they're doing in these labs. Very loose guidelines. This lady wants me. I can totally tell. I know I'm weird. I'm a weird dude.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I used to always carry a man purse, a merce. You ever carry one of those?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
A merce. I loved it. I loved that merce. But I was losing it. I'd lose it everywhere. I was always leaving my merce around. You know, I kept losing my merce. But I just started carrying everything, my person, my pants. I only lost my pants a couple of times. So that's really working out.
Oh, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
It had absolutely nothing to do with her gender. It was all because her stand-up routine was offensively unfunny. Women often make it seem like making money as a man is easy, but compare an OnlyFans model with what a young man has to do in order to make the same kind of money. He has to start a business, learn marketing and sales, deeply educate himself on finance, and work his ass off 80 hours a week. Or you could go the traditional route and get a college degree only to be passed over for high-paying jobs because the employer needs to hit a diversity quota and hire more women. All an OnlyFans model needs to do is show her flesh and she'll be raking in $10,000 a month minimum in weeks. Despite the lies of feminism, women are still the most protected demographic of people in our society aside from young children. Our entire infrastructure exists to protect women. Every piece of legislation is obsessively catering to women's safety and well-being. This level of protection has never been offered to men and never will be. This society only cares about something when it begins to affect women. If an issue affects only men, that issue isn't going anywhere. Nobody cares. When women have an issue in society, people say, how can we fix this society? When men have an issue in this society, people ask what men did wrong to create this. The general sentiment in today's society is that the educational institutions as well as the corporations and organizations are intentionally discriminating against women. Most people believe that the STEM fields like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics treat women unfairly and do their best to prevent them from gaining employment. But when you actually look at the data, the exact opposite is true. With massive government assistance, women are basically killing it in every major area in society. Not because women are inherently better than men, but because this society unfairly favors women. It's shocking to me how the feminist narrative of women not being allowed into the top positions in society has been allowed to pervade mainstream conversations without people mentioning one thing: diversity quotas. How can people believe that women are unfairly treated when there are literally quotas in major fields that specifically exist to hire more women while pushing men who are more qualified to the back of the queue? The truth is, this society favors women more than it favors men, and it's obvious to anyone interested in the truth. And this discrimination doesn't just exist in education and the workplace, it exists in the divorce courts too. Despite the fact that single fathers have been proven time and time again to be statistically the better parent, the divorce courts overwhelmingly favor women with child custody and alimony payments. Why is this? One reason: because they are women. There's no other explanation. The truth is, women are treated kindly just for existing, but men are treated with suspicion, contempt, and outright disgust just for existing. These days, men are treated like a predator by default. If you're a man who says he likes kids, you're instantly under suspicion. You didn't do anything wrong, but this society thinks your gender is sufficient evidence to suspect you of being a deviant. This society claims that it doesn't like discrimination. This is total BS. It loves discrimination if it favors women. For example, in recent years, Hollywood has shifted the way it portrays female and male characters. Women are now overwhelmingly presented as unstoppable and perfect heroes who can do absolutely no wrong and don't have a single flaw. Captain Marvel and She-Hulk are two examples. On the other hand, there's an unwritten rule in Hollywood now which states that you absolutely cannot present men as being strong in any way. Not only that, but you actually get bonus points if you portray men as being weak, passive, bumbling idiots. This unfair attitude towards men in this society and the pedestalizing of anything female has created a toxic culture full of entitled, narcissistic, and insufferable women who don't have a shred of empathy for a man. There's no surprise that women are starting to discover that they can't find a man to date them. What kind of man in his right mind would want to date one of these modern women who've been so conditioned by feminism that they resent him before he even opens his mouth? All this is to say that women have it far easier in this society than men. This is why it's so wild that many women are voluntarily choosing to become men, and they're learning from direct experience how difficult it is. Recently, a woman who goes online by the name of Zan transitioned to becoming a man. And post-transition, she was shocked to realize how hard life is. I'm grateful because this person successfully put their ego to one side and told the truth. And this is what she wrote. I'm pretty quiet about the fact that I'm a trans man, but holy... I need to tell you about the culture shock I'm going through because it's blindsiding me. There's this huge sense of social isolation that comes with being perceived as male because now people are subconsciously treating me as a potential predator. All strangers, no matter their gender, keep their guard up around me. It made me realize that there is no inherent camaraderie in male socialization like there is in female socialization, unless, of course, it's in very specific environments. And the fact that I don't ambiently experience this mutual kinship in basic exchanges anymore is an insanely lonely feeling. You know how bad this would have upped my mind if I had grown up like this? It is 4:30 a.m. and I'm mourning the loss of a privilege I didn't know I had. What this woman started to realize extremely quickly is how lonely life is as a man. You're expected to just know everything and be okay basically all the time. This society despises weak men and does nothing to help them out when they're struggling. This is why online communities have formed. It was out of necessity. Men needed community and still do, so we created our own. But obviously, feminism didn't like that, which is why they began calling any online community of men a group of basement-dwelling incels. And she continues, frankly, this is something I would have never understood without living the experience. It is now blatantly clear to me that most cis men probably experience chronic emotional malnutrition. They're deprived of social connection just enough for it to seriously with their psyches, but not enough for them to realize that it's happening and what's causing it. It's like they're starving, but they don't know this because they've always been served 3 meals, except those meals have never been big enough. This deprivation comes from all sides of the aisle, by the way. Zan then goes on to write about how women treated her differently since she became a man. Strap in for this because I know you guys are going to relate to it as much as I did. In the case of women, when I'm out in public and interact with them, all of them come off as incredibly aloof, cold, and mirthless. I have never experienced this before, even though I know exactly what this composure is. The armor that keeps away creepy-ass men. As someone who used to wear this myself, I know that this armor is 100% impersonal. Nobody likes wearing it, and I can say with absolute certainty that women would dump the armor in favor of unconditional companionship with men if doing this didn't run the risk of actual assault. Trust me when I say that women aren't just being needlessly guarded, but I only have complete understanding of this context because I've experienced female socialization. If I hadn't, I would have thought this coldness was a conspiracy against me, devised by roughly half the human population. Even now, with all I know about navigating the world as a woman, I am failing to convince my monkey brain that this armor is not social rejection. Can you believe this? Even though this woman has context that almost nobody else does, she can't help but start to view the cold reactions from women as social rejection. She goes on to write about male socialization. I'll let you make your own mind up. And as for male socialization, again, it seems taboo for a man to be platonically intimate with men for reasons I have yet to fully understand. But I think it boils down to A, the fact that society teaches boys that it's not okay to be soft with each other, and B, garden variety homophobia. Our media only shows men being intimate with one another when they're teamed up against a dire situation. And I bet real money it's a huge ass reason why men gravitate towards activities that simulate being teamed up against an opposing force. But men are not machines of war. Yeah, testosterone absolutely gives you dumb bastard brain, but that just makes you want to skateboard a wagon down a hill or duct tape your friend to the wall, not kill someone. It's an interesting take, but you can already see the feminist propaganda bleeding through. The next thing she writes is the most interesting. The human species looks so much colder standing from this side. I can see how men might convince themselves that their feelings of emotional desperation is personal weakness, as opposed to a symptom they're experiencing from white imperialism because the human condition is as essential for our well-being as water is. So sick. How sick. I want to destroy this garbage. Again, this woman can't help but allow woke nonsense to work its way into her writing. But the important thing here is that she's a woman who became a man and had first-hand experience of how difficult it is. Her reasons for it are nothing but woke nonsense, but at least she's willing to tell the truth about her experiences. Privileges that women have. As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you'll get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video. Till next time.